Today at ShopDAP.com, I compare buying a MK7 GTI versus a B8 S4. After seeing a bunch of people post who are looking to switch from a MK7 to an S4, I decided to put together a review of showing the differences between a MK7 and a B8 or B8.5 S4. Let's start with perception. Whether we like it or not, all people will have a certain perception about people based on the car they drive. While I don't believe this is something that you should use as a critical point for selecting your vehicle, it is a reality and is something that we should be aware of with the cars we drive. Let's start with the GTI. Oftentimes what people think depends on who they are. So when you're driving a MK7, these guys think you drive this, and these girls think you drive this. And while you think you're driving this, your mom would describe your car as cute. Now let's talk about the Audi. Like any car with 4 rings on the front of it, it is going to be perceived as a nicer or high-end car. So this guy is going to say, "You fancy," and these people will think that you're a respectable suit job guy. Your mom will be worried about insurance costs, and you will think you're the wolf of fucking Wall Street. Let's move on to power. The MK7 GTI comes stock with 210 horsepower and weighs 2,900 pounds. Now with a Stage 1 Plus tune, you bump it up to 310 horsepower, and with a Stage 2 Plus IS38 turbo upgrade, you bump up to 381 horsepower. The S4 comes stock with 333 horsepower and weighs 3,900 pounds. With a Stage 1 Plus tune, you bump your power up to 417 horsepower, and with a dual pulley setup, you land just shy of 500 horsepower. Since we just talked about mods, let's talk about the cost difference between those mods. So the Stage 1 Plus on the GTI is $700, whereas the Stage 1 Plus on the S4 is $1,200. Upgrading a GTI to an IS38 turbo is around $2,500, where the dual pulley with software is around $2,000. Let's move on to cost. So people watching this video are likely going to be either already a MK7 owner and comparing to what an S4 would cost, or they are a new GTI potential buyer and are comparing it to buying a used S4 instead. So let's look at that particular instance because I think it's more applicable because we have a one-to-one comparison. With a new GTI falling around $27,000 and a used S4 falling in a similar price range, these are likely going to be the vehicles that you're going to be shopping against. The new GTI is going to have a 6-year, 72,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, and the S4 had a bumper-to-bumper warranty of 4 years, 50,000 miles. Now, depending on the year, mileage, and date in service that the vehicle you're purchasing is at, you may or may not have a warranty on that particular vehicle. When it comes to cost of ownership, I would expect an S4 to be more expensive in almost every single way, including insurance cost, parts cost, and maintenance cost. Now let's talk about reliability. So reliability on the MK7 versus the S4. Now, if we're comparing a new one to a used one, you obviously have a new car with a new car warranty. Now, MK7s have not been aged out very far as reliability to know for certain, but at this point, there's only one major issue that appears to be very prevalent on those and is going to vary depending on years. I suspect if you're buying a new one, a lot of that's going to be resolved, which would be the thermostat assembly / water pump assembly on the MK7. Now moving on to the Audi models, the S4s, we actually have an article that is a 3-liter turbo common problems article. While I don't think the 3-liter supercharged engine has a lot of problems, which is in that range of S4s, not the 3-liter turbo ones that come in the B9 ones, but they don't have a lot of issues and are not super failure prone. So in that sense, I wouldn't dissuade anybody from one way or the other of leaning away from an S4 because of that reason, which is why I think it's a fine choice if you decide to go down that road. Now let's talk about overall feel of the vehicles. So the GTI being 1,000 pounds lighter makes this car much more fun to drive and nimble around turns, with the S4 being a car that is going to be more stable at high speeds and be more comfortable to drive over long distances. Now when we talk about interiors, the GTI has a high quality interior for its segment. It's going to be probably at the top or near the top for its vehicle segment of an interior. Now that does not compare because the S4 is a different segment of vehicle, which means the S4 is going to have it in almost every way edged out with overall quality of feel of vehicle on the inside. So what's the final verdict? For me, it's going to be the MK7. While I currently daily a B8.5 S4, which I really enjoy, every time I get into this car or any other MK7, I'm reminded of why I really like them. That fun, nimble feel of drive makes it a very different experience than what you get with the Audi. That doesn't mention the fact that the Mark 7 tends to be a much more practical car because hatchbacks can fit a lot more shit in them.